want you falling asleep. Okay, there you guys can sit there. There you go. Well, thanks for letting me come. Not that you really had a choice that I came or not. But my whole thought here is my husband is a police officer, so I'm giving the perspective of someone that has to live with one of you. So, yay me. Just kidding. Okay, so again, my name is Sarah Deutsch. Debbie is my mom. Isn't she great with it? Yeah. Yes. A little bit background about me, I guess, actually probably more about my husband. He's the most important one. My husband Rob and I have been married for 19 years. 19, I did say it correctly. I know I don't look that old, however, I'm not a cop, so I age differently than all of you guys. Okay? We have 3 kids together. My oldest is 15, she's a girl. Her name is Kaylin, she's in high school. I have a 10-year-old boy named Solomon, and I have an 8-year-old girl named Adeline. And he works at Ashwaubenon Public Safety, so we live up in Green Bay. The great thing about Ashwaubenon is you hold 3 responsibilities. You are a police officer, an EMT, and a firefighter. He likes to call himself a triple hero. However, I don't think rescuing cats and making chili makes you a hero. We all know you guys are the heroes. Oh, that's a burn, right? Sorry. There's no firefighters here. It's okay. We can make fun of them. Also, Ashwaubenon is hiring, so if you're not, if you don't have an agency, Green Bay people are pretty cool, if I say so myself. Much like many of you, probably you guys grew up wanting to be a police officer. It's not a light decision. My husband always wanted to be a police officer from little on. He had an abusive alcoholic father, and so most of his childhood was sneaking out of the basement, out of the window, walking to Cudahy Police Department, asking for an escort home to his mom. The officers there knew him by name, knew his father by name, and knew exactly where to take him, and that gave him a sense of security, hope, a little bit of structure, and he just wanted to help someone else. Just wanted to give someone else that security of, I can take them home, I can make them safe, and I can help my mom get out of an abusive relationship. That is why he stemmed to want to be a police officer, and that is his why. Just like many of you on your board, you guys have reasons why you wanted to become a police officer. Your families are the sole purpose of that, and that is what you must always focus on, is your why. When my husband first became an officer, my mom gave me this book, Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. I kind of chuckled at it because I said, I don't need this, it's not my job. I don't care what he does. Why do I have to read about him being a police officer? I don't care. I do all the work at home, I do all the cooking and the cleaning, and I handle the kids. Why do I have to read about being emotional support for him? Well, let me tell you, so Debbie says to me, just read the dang book. If you and Rob read it, I'll give you $100. This is not a big book. I could read this in a few hours. So I was like, I know what police make. I want $100, so give me the book, fine, we'll read it. She also said, if you guys read the book, she'll give you each $100. Oh, just kidding. Right. Yeah, we're with her. So this past week, I picked back up the book because I was like, oh, I should probably read it. He's been in law enforcement for a few years. And I got to chapter 4, and right away, it said, and I'm quoting it, being a cop wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for all the bullshit. I'm pretty sure my husband says that every single day when he comes home. It also says about being cynical. Just this last week, my husband turned to my son and said, if you keep talking like that, you're gonna be like just one of those people that I arrest. Keep blabbering your mouth. You're gonna get yourself in trouble. You're gonna be like the ones I arrest. Over and over. Cynical. Everything is a problem. I don't want to go here because so-and-so is there. Everything is cynical. I feel like I should co-author this book next time. Sarah Deutsch, wife of cynical cop. No? Okay. You can laugh at my jokes. It's okay. So this book will prepare you because normal civilians don't know why 2 squad cars show up on a traffic stop. We don't know why you guys touched the back of the car. We think you guys are being a bunch of jerks. We know why you are doing it, for your safety, for your part to keep you safe and preparing yourself for the worst, because you never know what you are walking into. So when my husband was going through the academy, they held a night where they offered spouses, family members, parents could come to prep us for you guys becoming police officers, what it looked like. And there was one story that really stuck out to me. It was an officer came home, he walked in the door, and his wife was home all day, and she made homemade French bread. They made garlic bread. She let the dough rise, and she made some salad. She had a dessert. The kids were all at the table. They were already eating, and the husband walked through the door, and she's like, "Oh, welcome home. I made your favorite meal, spaghetti." And he looked at the meal, and he kept walking, and he said, "I'm not hungry. I'm going to go sit. I'm going to watch TV." That was me, and my husband did that to me. I would be a little irritated. And so, of course, she went and turned to him and said, "I spent all day. I cleaned the house. I took care of the kids. I made food. I made your favorite meal, and you treat me like crap." And he turned around and he looked at her and he said, "My last call was a suicide, and that's what it looked like. I can't eat it today." Gulp. I don't deal with that at my job. I don't ever think of what my husband has to see when I walk in the door. So, his perspective. My husband works third shift, horrible shift work. I absolutely hate it. He absolutely hates it. He works 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. He comes home, takes the kids to school. I start work at 7. He comes back, sleeps, I get the kids. That's just kind of how our routine works to try to make it work. So I'm not a morning person, so usually when he walks in the door, I'm trying to pretend to be happy, try to get my 5 cups of coffee in because kids, and they're a lot. So a few months ago, my husband walked in the door, went right to my desk, and just threw his arms around me. Sometimes he does that, but not all the time. And he held me differently that day. And he came home and he looked at me and he said, "Today was the first day where I thought I wasn't gonna come home." See, he was watching someone, he was gonna serve someone with a warrant, he was watching them, and probably butchering the story, but he was watching them to give them the warrant, so he was waiting for them to walk out to their car. And as he was walking to the suspect, he was giving them the commands to stop, put your hands, walk backward, whatever you guys do. I don't know what you guys do. And the guy refused, and he opened up his car, and my husband ran towards him, and they ended up wrestling. And the second car showed up, and this other cop got in the mix of somehow, and all 3 of them were wrestling on the ground. And the partner ended up spraying that pepper spray, well, sprayed my husband and the suspect. So now he's wrestling on the ground. You know, all your cortisol levels are super high. He's fighting, rolling around, and now he can't see. So finally, a neighboring department came. They arrested the guy. Obviously, he was high on meth and had his Superman powers. And so as they were walking to the car, they noticed an AR wedged right in between his seat and the dash right there. So the guy was reaching for the car, in the car with that. Luckily, my husband came home with scratches, some bruises, his shoulder hurt, some very red eyes from the pepper spray, but he came home. A few weeks ago, we went to the YMCA because we were trying to work out. He works long hours. And as we're walking in, we're walking in, my 3 kids are in front, I'm walking there, Rob's walking behind me because God forbid he ever walks in front of me. He always has to be scoping the room or whatever he does. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Sarah, go!" And he's like nudging me. And I'm like, "The kids, like, stop being impatient with me, stop." And he shuffled all of us like a little herd of chickens trying to get us all together here. And he was like, "I arrested that guy 2 nights ago. And he just saw you, and he's glaring me. He saw all 3 of my kids walk through the door. I don't know if he's gonna watch us. I need to watch where he goes so that he's not watching me." Always hypervigilant. Here we're trying to go and work out, release all that, and you never know who you're gonna run into. I don't have to worry about that. ever with my job. I run into people and it's a good old time. He runs into people and it's people he arrested. Always hypervigilant. The thing is, and this is where it's gonna get sappy, is I didn't choose to be a police officer. Not once have I ever thought, gosh, I wanna go into law enforcement. Not once. But I did choose to love a man who is. My encouragement to you is always talk about what happens at work. Come home, find someone to talk to, whether it's a friend, a counselor, find your outlets, do the things you love, the things on your board, your fishing, your hunting, your games, your traveling. That's a priority. That's your why. We always talk about things that make him scared. I know it's not easy to talk about what we're scared about, but it gets you through. I don't, as a wife, don't want to hear that my husband won't come home, but it's a possibility, so let's talk about it. What we're gonna do. We have to learn how to communicate, even if it's ugly. And if we didn't get it right that day, we promise each other that we'll try again tomorrow. Oftentimes I need to remind my husband, your wife and kids, we're not the criminals. You don't have to talk to us that way. We're not the bad guys. Remember the who and the why that is on your board. So I saw some of you guys had, or heard that some of you guys have kids and you guys had the pictures. So my younger two, when they were way younger, they were super excited. Most kids get all excited, like, my daddy's a cop. And I'm pretty sure I heard, I don't know, 2 years ago maybe, my son was out there playing with his buddies, and you know how kids trash talk each other. And he was like, my daddy can arrest your daddy, right? It's like the best yo mama joke, but it's for his dad, because it's not funny when your dad arrests your friend's kids, or their parents, right? That's never that fun. They were super excited about it, but it wasn't so easy for my oldest. She was in middle school when he became a police officer. She couldn't watch the news, she knows how to read. Shortly after, like the last 2 years, cops have been in the news a lot. There's the fear of what can happen. They didn't choose this career, you guys did, or my husband did. It's not a bad thing. But they didn't choose to miss their family holidays, to be pushed off to a different day because he works. They didn't choose the odd shift or when they get to be called in. They just want their dad at basketball, baseball, their lacrosse games. They want to feel validated, they want to be heard, and that they matter. If daddy could, he would. He keeps telling them, I'm truly a hero because I can't be here. So last year, the full reason why I'm here, my oldest, right here, Keelan, had an assignment for her ELA class, and they had to research a nonprofit that affected them. Now, like most freshmen, the most important things in their life are TikTok, Snapchat. They've never really experienced any type of life happening. So most kids chose the Humane Society because they have pets that they got from there. They chose Cancer Society because great-grandma Bertha ended up getting cancer. All of those are great things. But I'm super proud of the one that my daughter chose. So the whole reason why I'm here is I'm going to read to you her presentation. So I am going to be looking at the sheet because it's her words, not mine. So here it is. Who do you call when someone is banging on your door, frantically screaming at 2 a.m.? Who do you call when you're in a car accident? Who do you call when you're getting chased by someone in a dark alley? Who do you call when you walk into a house and someone is lying on the ground? What's the answer to all these questions? Police officers. In the time of fear and panic, we all run away, yet police officers run to the problem. According to the charity I chose, Concerns for Police Survivors, often known as C.O.P.S, the website states that they are a nonprofit that provides resources to families of fallen police officers. This nonprofit provides resources for police officers, counseling for kids, mental health evaluations, and offers local chapters to families of police officers. They hold special events for police families and celebrate National Police Week. This nonprofit helps kids of fallen police officers by offering them financial support for college, scholarships, and offers additional material to get them through college. As little kids grow up, you can ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Common answer is a police officer, Being a police officer is a noble job. It has high stakes with little reward. They see the worst, they stop crime. They are the first on the scene when someone dials 911. In the past 2 years, crime against police officers have been higher than normal. They have gotten a bad name. Statistics have shown there are crimes against them just because of their profession. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Are they human? Yes. Are all of them bad? No. There are good and bad in each profession. Doctors make mistakes, lawyers make mistakes, nurses make mistakes. No one is perfect. No job is perfect. But in the end, they are human. Police officers have families. They are a son or daughter. They are an aunt or uncle. They are someone's mom or dad. To me, it's my dad. My dad is the one I call. It's who you would call in your time of panic. He comes to help you. The Blue community, like this nonprofit C.O.P.S, stands with families. My greatest fear is something happening to my dad. According to the statistics reported to the FBI, 59 police officers were killed in the line of duty from January 1st to September 30th, 2021. This marks a 51% increase in the number of police officers killed when compared to the same period last year. Nationally, 60,000 law enforcement officers were assaulted while performing their duties in 2020. These assaults were reported to the FBI by 9,000 law enforcement agencies. Based on these reports, there were 4,000 more officers assaulted in 2020 than reported in 2019. I'd like to give you an idea of what dangers my dad faces on a daily basis. For example, just in the last year, my dad's co-workers were involved in 2 shooting incidents. You may have heard about the shooting incident in Oneida Casino, in which several people lost their lives. 3 died, including the shooter and 1 severely injured. My dad was on scene at a traffic stop when one of the police squads was rear-ended by a drunk driver, almost hitting the other officer and my dad. Just even this past week, my dad was also the first on scene with a girl swinging a knife straight at somebody. My dad's job varies every day, involving drug overdose, death scenes, and assisting Child Protective Services in removing children from unsafe homes. This is just a small sample size of what my dad encounters on a day-to-day basis. What would you do in these situations? Would you have enough courage to do this profession? Also, how do you think you would emotionally and mentally react to these horrifying events? And think to yourself, would you run to protect? Would you run to save? Would you stop crime if you saw it? It takes a lot of strength to do all of these things. The Providence Journal stated that law enforcement agencies are reporting an 86% staffing shortage. Who will we call if there are no cops? I don't know about you. I'm only going to call my dad or Jesus. This nonprofit is for me. They are my source when I'm afraid of something happening. They will be there for my mom if something happens to my dad. They will be there for me and my siblings. They will honor him for his service to the community. They will honor him for sacrificing his life to protect yours. I hope I never have to experience this and that I never have to use C.O.P.S, but I will be there for my Blue family and extend a hand to other families in their time of need. So, what you gonna do when they come for you? Remember, it's someone's family member protecting you. It's someone's dad. It's my dad. Pretty good for a 14-year-old, right? Yeah. So, to wrap all of this up, know this: you are loved, whether the media tells you or not. You will have the Blue community always supporting you. Talk, communicate with your family, do the things you love on the boards, remember your why, find help, get away, go to counseling, whatever you need to do, love your family. But most importantly, please, come home safely. Thank you. You guys wanna, I don't know if you guys need to pass this. You just wanna see it.